May I ask, what is the residence plan for Mr. Dupree were he to be released?
Yes, ma'am. We don't have a specific place lined out, given the timeline. It makes it very difficult for us to reserve a bid, kind of not knowing. But the plan would be to send him to an assisted living type facility, something like Villa Feliciana in Jackson, or in East Feliciana Parish, or possibly Capitol House in Baton Rouge. Those have been places that we've used heavily in the past.
Okay.
I got a question. Are those facilities a DOC approved secure facility?
Honestly, sir, I wouldn't. I know that we have paroled offenders to those institutions in the past, but that would be the best that I would be able to answer that question for you on the security side of things.
Mr. Price.
This is Warden Buttress. I know Villa Feliciana and the other residence plan that he mentioned are not a confinement facility in terms of secure or providing security as far as like a security officer sitting with him, if that's what you're asking.
Well, would those facilities be the type of facility that works with y'all, where if he were to ever walk out the door of the facility, that probation officer would immediately be notified?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And we have sent multiple inmates to Villa Feliciana, and we have a good working relationship with that facility.
Thank you.
Mr. Prater, would you take lead on asking questions?
Yes, sir. Mr. Dupree, it's going to be hard for you to say this, but maybe somebody in the room can. How bad were you when you committed this crime? How bad a shape were you in?
I was in good shape, sir.
Well, you'd had a stroke, is that correct, previously?
I had 3 strokes and heart surgery.
It's talking about prior to now, Peter. At the time that you committed the crime, you had not had 3 strokes. Correct, correct. So what kind of shape were you in at that time?
I was able to walk. I was able to do everything on my own.
Can you stand up now?
No, sir, I can't.
Are you taking any kind of exercises or any kind of physical therapy where you will be able to stand up?
I enjoyed physical therapy.
Yes. Have you gotten better?
Yes, sir.
Good. Congratulations.
With my therapist, I am doing some walking.
I don't have any other thing.
Yes, sir. Go ahead. I can see you want to interject.
Well,
Go ahead.
I just wanted to clarify, you asked if he could stand. He can stand with assistance. To stand on his own, he would not be able to. Same with walking. With a physical therapist, with assistance of a belt helping to hold him up, he can take a few steps. But he can't do either of those things alone.
Toiletry. Where is he with toiletry?
Full assistance, ma'am. So he would require total assistance to get out of the bed, to any transfers. The only thing that he is able to do independently is if he is in the bed and we sit him up, much like he is here, and we put a tray of food in front of him, he is able to feed himself independently. But everything else requires significant assistance. In most cases, complete assistance.
And just to clarify, a medical parole is contingent upon the offender conducting themselves appropriately within the facility that they're placed. And if they improve significantly, they can be returned to the Department of Correction. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yes, ma'am.
And will they have someone come by every once in a while to check on their progress?
He will be followed by a probation officer, just as he would on the street. He would be checked on routinely by an assigned probation officer.
Okay. Does he have significant medication that he takes?
Yes, ma'am. I have a list here. I'm not sure how in-depth you would want to get, but just to give you a rough idea, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. He's prescribed 13 different prescription medications currently.
Okay, I got it. Maybe some of the staff can help me out here. Say, I'm gonna give a scenario and you tell me how this would be. Say if my grandmother was in the nursing home and this gentleman's in the nursing home. And one of my granddaughters wants to go see my grandmother. Is she gonna know that a sex offender lives next door? And what's gonna prevent this kindly looking gentleman sitting in a wheelchair from other kids going up to him that may be visiting people at the nursing home? How are they gonna know he's a sex offender?
Mr. Prater, this is Warden Buttress. A villa in particular, houses sex offenders. I can't speak to their specific protocols as far as visitation, but I do know that they take measures, understanding that they do house sex offenders there. So I would imagine that they have to follow, certain guidelines where they cannot allow sex offenders to be around children, or if they even allow children at that facility. I'm not quite sure. But I do know that villa in particular is a residence that we've used in the past for sex offender housing.
All right. If I think that we're prepared to vote, Mr. Prater, are you
I
prepared?
would like to call for executive session.
There's been a request for executive session.
Steve Prater,
Yes, ma'am.
Darren Livingston,
Yes.
Yeah.
Danny Barber.
Yes.
The committee is back in session at 9:45.
We need to vote, be back in session.
Do we?
Steve Furtick,
Yes.
Ed Ross.
Yes.
Gary Ledoux.
Yes. It's time for the panel to vote. Mr. Prater will be voting first.
Yes, sir. It's a very tough decision to make for me for a number of reasons. Without getting into any of that, you have to have a unanimous vote. And so one vote will be enough to deny this. Due to the fact that I'm not comfortable with where you're going to be going, that you will be separated from any visitors or children that are there, I'm going to vote to deny this medical parole.
Mr. Fox.
I'm gonna concur with Mr. Prater for the same reason.
My vote is to grant, with all the stipulations of medical parole control. But on a 2-to-1 vote, your request for medical parole has been denied.